Preparing for a new pet. How am I doing it? Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot, Bliss Bond. Get to know African Gray and Cape Parrots, 30 perfect apartment parrots, and feathered splendor. Check those out on Amazon, but the links are below in the description. Today I'm talking to you about something that's actually not a parrot. I have Blue, my Quaker parrot, with me. I have over 22 species of parrots. I love parrots. My mission is to help you increase your blissful bond with your parrot, reducing the need for rescues and rehoming. But today I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball. You see, like so many other people who have parrots and love parrots, I love animals. I mean, like the people in my YouTube group, most of them have another animal, a cat, a dog. Those are the common ones. And I do have a cat and a dog. They're awesome. But in addition to my parrots, lately things have been happening in my life such that I'm thinking about a new exotic species, a sugar glider. Now, what's been really cool is in thinking about this new exotic species, I'm asking myself all these questions, and I'm going to share some of the ones that I came up with on a list with you. And the reason I'm going to share them is, number one, if you're looking at getting a sugar glider, maybe you're asking yourself some of these questions. Maybe you could ask me questions, and maybe you'll give me some good ideas in my comments section below. Also, though, the same kind of applies to parrots. One of the things that has happened is because I have parrots, I've sort of known what to ask within getting a sugar glider. Of course, one of the biggest questions is, what am I getting myself into? Because when you are looking at getting a parrot, and since I always talk about parrots, I'm going to talk some about parrots too. You know, you look into what's it going to be like, and some of the pros off the top of my head kind of thing are like having this total companion that's with you during the day, having this total companion that sometimes talks. Quakers are like pretty well known for being pretty good talkers. Blue doesn't talk. That's the way it goes sometimes. And number three, like you've just kind of got this best friend who preens you, and they're just awesome companions. I love parrots. There's a reason I have over 22 species of parrots. They are my bliss. On the downside though, if you're getting a parrot, what you're getting yourself into often is biting, a lot of loud squawking, and having to learn how to take care of them. And that includes, for example, cleaning up their mess, because they are messy animals. So knowing these things, I'm kind of like, what am I getting into with a sugar glider? Sugar gliders, I'm learning, are between 30 and 100 grams. That's something I never would have asked, but because I do a little bit of breeding and because I have my parrots, I know, for example, that with parrots, one of the ways we monitor their health is by weighing them every week or something like that. Like you want to weigh them on a pretty regular basis so that you catch when something's off. I don't think I would have ever thought of it. And so I did think of it. For example, Blue, he's, what are you? I forget. You're not quite 100 grams, huh? He's like 90, 100 grams. I keep notes on his weight so that if it drops, like I can see when it dropped. And when it drops, I know it's time to go to the vet. So like I thought to ask about, you know, this smaller animal, a sugar glider, so they're going to weigh about the same as Blue when they're an adult. But like, what am I getting into? And some of what I found out I'm going to be getting myself into is, like Blue, they do have a cage. Unlike Blue, they're nocturnal. And I'm kind of going, they're so cute. I've been watching all of these shows on exotic animals, and sugar gliders are the ones that like kind of keep coming back to me. Like I keep thinking about them. I've been thinking about it for some time. And so I'm kind of like, why do I want a nocturnal pet? Like, what am I getting myself into? That question again, right? I think it's a really important question to ask to make sure that you're gonna be happy and you're gonna be able to take care of the animal and you're gonna have that blissful bond kind of thing. So, you know, when do you bond with this nocturnal animal, or what's the deal? And of course, some of it is actually, once you've bonded with them, you can have them in their pouch and take them places with you, like during the day when they're sleeping, as I understand it. So, you know, more of what am I getting myself into? Like parrots, I'm gonna have to provide some fresh fruits and vegetables. Unlike parrots, sugar gliders are called sugar gliders because they do need not sugar, but that sweetness from fruits and like I've been researching diet. So fruits, we'll stop with fruits for now. However, if I fed fruits to Blue, he would likely have liver problems in either the short run or the long run, because he's actually not only, number one, not made for fat, and when your body has extra sugar, it turns it into fat, but number two, parrots have not developed themselves, evolved to actually be able to digest well the fructose that is in fruits. Sugar gliders, they need it. They'll go up to a flower and take out the nectar. I mean, how cool and sweet is that? I'm like, what kind of flowers? Can I grow them? But Blue, he needs broccoli and carrots and beta carotene rich fruits and vegetables. Mangoes, therefore, even though they have fructose, they kind of become an exception because they have that beta carotene. So like, what are the exceptions with sugar gliders? What do I give them? What do I not give them? For example, actually I'm finding out that one thing you can use for sugar glider as a treat is honey. I think it has to be like raw or unraw. I need to find out, like, what? You need to like know all these details before you get the wrong thing and cause yourself problems. So I'm gonna have this nocturnal animal that's asleep when I'm awake, and that's awake in its cage making noise. Everyone says they make noise, like they run on their runners. You have to have a runner for them. And so like I'm trying to find out all of the things. Oh, that's a little loud. See what I mean? I knew that when I welcomed Blue into my home, because he was surrendered to us, what I was getting myself into and what I was getting my ears into. So with parrots, I already know what you need, right? Like I know perches, toys. They need wood. They really like wood. Wood's really good for them. Enrichment's good for them. What do I need for a sugar glider? Well, they're kind of similar. They need that running wheel. They need to be able to really be active because they're little guys and they're very active. I've seen videos where they climb up something, like, I don't know if it's crocheted or sewn or what, because you have to have the right fabrics for them. You can't have any fabric. It has to be like a certain kind of fleece if they're exposed to fabrics, because I guess their little nails get caught and you don't want them to get tangled up and hurt themselves. And that's similar with parrots. I don't like to give them fabrics because they can eat them and ingest them, and it's not food. It'll clog up their digestive tract, or they too can get tangled in them. So that's a similarity. Like, again, I know some of the right questions to ask just from my experience with parrots. So I've seen sugar gliders climb up this thing. I have to figure out how to, I did. I got fleece and I crocheted something like a little vine so that they can go to the top, and then sometimes they like to glide down because they're sugar gliders. That's what they do. They have a flap of skin between their elbow and their ankle, and they open it up and they parachute and fly down. I mean, how cute. I guess I like flyers, right? I've got my parrots, they fly. And most of my parrots are flighted unless, number one, they can't fly because for whatever medical reason kind of thing, like my Amazon. Or number two, there are one or two that I keep clipped just because I want to be able to take them out, and I don't have the time and the heart to risk free flying them. So I have to be really careful. And I'm learning the same about the sugar glider, right? When they're super bonded, you could take them out and about, but when they're not, like if they jump off of you, like, they're so fast and they glide, they'd be gone. So I'm learning some about that. But what else do I need? The cage, the special dishes, because their dishes are similar to the parrots. I want a no mess dish kind of thing, just like I have with my parrots, so that if they're on top of it for my parrots, they don't soil it, they go in the dish. And I'll put a link in to a video or two that I've done on that. And the sugar gliders, it's kind of the same. People will get them like this egg looking thing. I don't know how big it is. I ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come. It's supposed to come today. How exciting. And they go in, it's got a hole. They go in so that they can eat, because like parrots, they take their food and they're like, don't want that, don't want that. Oh, I'll eat this. And they splatter it everywhere. That's exactly what parrots do. So I'm like, okay, they're messy like parrots. I know what I'm getting into. But so I need the cage, I need the runner, I need the feeder, I need sleepers, I need toys. I'm so excited because Wednesday I might be getting my first glider. Now, how many do I need? Because again, since I know parrots and I know that they're social, and unfortunately people don't really recognize them as being social, but they really are. Parrots can get lonely and sad, and if they don't have a buddy, they can get needy. Blue's a little needy because he's never quite had a buddy, you know? And so parrots really need a pair, and almost all of my parrots have their mate. They have a cage mate, they have another parrot that they're bonded to, and it doesn't mean that they don't bond with me. And I'm finding the same is true with sugar gliders. Sugar gliders don't do well by themselves. And you know, one reason that really makes sense is, number one, just like a parrot, I'm not a sugar glider and I'm not a parrot. So I don't relate in the same ways. So they really need one of their same species. Just like if I went scuba diving or something and was gonna stay down there for a year, I'd really like another human. I'm sure I'd make some friends that are fish, but we'd never communicate the same way. We'd never relate the same way because I would be constantly making sure I have enough oxygen or whatever, right? And the fish, they're not even thinking about that. So it sounds kind of like a silly example, I'm guessing, but it's really true. It's really important that they have someone that they can relate with. So at least Blue has other birds around him, and he really likes that. It makes him feel like he's in a safe place. He hears his same language. I do have one pair of Quakers that are breeding, and so sometimes Blue goes and like hangs out on their cage kind of thing. So I knew, and it made sense to me, that sugar gliders are social, they're alone at night, they really do need at least one buddy. So I do plan on getting 2. I'm trying to line that up. I don't think I want 7. Unlike my parrots, I'm like 2. Maybe I'll breed them and they'll have like a little family, maybe not. I want to be able to have that option. And sugar gliders, I'm finding, often come fixed, or I suppose neutered, because I just learned from a breeder that they don't spay the females. So you know, like, I'm learning all of these things. I'm really excited. And so that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking at getting, is 2 with the option to later have more. So if you're getting a sugar glider, you want to think and you want to be like, do I want the option to breed? Do I not want the option to breed? Because if your male comes neutered, you're not going to have an option to breed. And so, you know, that's one of those questions, like, how many do I want? Again, they're nocturnal. What am I getting myself into? So how am I going to bond? And so, like, I've been planning and thinking, and I started making a pouch. I went to the fabric store. I got on a really cool group on Facebook for sugar gliders and asked, I'm like, guys, I don't get it. I thought fleece was fleece. Sorry. I'm new to sugar gliders. I know nothing. I thought fleece was fleece. And they're like, oh, you want this kind? And I'm like, will it be labeled? And they're like, if it isn't, you can ask, they'll know. And sure enough. So that was really awesome. So I'm making a schedule. I'm making my little carrier and I'm making a schedule, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, the sugar glider, I'm gonna be able to spend a little time with it probably when it's tired in the morning before it falls asleep, and when it's like waking up and it's winding up and I'm winding down in the evening. So that'll be kind of interesting. I read somewhere that 2 hours a day is a good amount to spend with the sugar glider. I'm gonna assume that, like parrots, it doesn't mean I have to be all into them. I'm gonna assume it means that, like Blue here, I'm hanging out with them. And I am gonna have to go through a taming process with my sugar glider, just like I would with parrots. And I'm finding that even that is similar. A taming process is really about getting the animal to know that you're not bad, even though you're big. You're the bringer of sweet treats, and you can kind of introduce them to another world in addition to their own species that they can enjoy, so that they can have 2 worlds. And they need to become familiar enough with you that they know that you're safe, you're fun, you're actually kind of awesome. So get this. People get like a tent, like if you're thinking about going camping and there's gonna be mosquitoes or bugs, and some people get like a little, it's like a cubicle, like a real cubicle made out of tent or, you know, mesh or anti-bug material, and they put their chair in so that they can sit in the great outdoors, but in their little cubicle, but not get eaten alive. That's kind of cool. Okay, so people use something like that for sugar gliders, because then the sugar glider, I'm imagining, can go all around and it has the freedom to hang out with you without you imposing yourself and trying to catch them. And instead, it's like you let them come to you when they're ready and they're like, oh, do you have something for them? Do you have a treat? Maybe I'll approach this person. That way they learn for themselves, because you certainly can't tell them. And frankly, you can't tell people either, hey, I'm not bad. You should come let me hold you and pet you. Doesn't work, right? Even people need to find that out for themselves. So the same is true for parrots and sugar gliders. So I'm thinking about I gotta look into getting one of those tent things to see about being able to do that taming process. With parrots, we don't have tents because the parrots would rip a hole in it and it would be gone. Instead, what we do is my daughter and I, we go into a small room and like a bathroom or just a small room, and we just spend time in there. We do our own thing. We're like working on the computer or watching TV or whatever. Like I like to do the rooms. The bathroom isn't as entertaining for me. And that way my bird gets to fly around and get away from me and come when they're ready. And in time, they do come. One of the things that is absolutely necessary with parrots is time. The more time you spend with them, the more they're going to get comfortable with you, the less they're going to be untamed, the more they're going to bond with you. I'm guessing sugar gliders are the same, but I'll be finding out. But that bonding tent tells me that they are. Last example, because this is getting a little long. How do I provide the level of care that I want to provide for a sugar glider? The other day, my daughter and I were talking and saying something about being a control freak, and I'm like, I'm not a control freak. Look at my house. With parrots, my house is messy. I mean, you sweep and there's something on the floor. It's just the way it is with parrots. That's what you're getting into if you're getting parrots, right? Like they find, for example, a stick, they break it up and it goes everywhere. So if they have a toy in their cage, it goes everywhere. If they have food, like I said, they throw it. And so that's if they're in their cage. And if they're in a play area, they have more room to walk around, break things up, and make a mess. And that's who they are. That's what they are. You have to understand that to love a parrot is to love this about them. It is their nature. I call them nature's recyclers of wood. They break it down for nature so that it can go back down into the soil, that kind of thing. And so they spread it everywhere. They do the same with their food. That's how they help ecosystems spread. That is what a parrot is. Clearly, my house, even though I clean all the time, it can be messy. And I'm like, no, look, I'm not a control freak. My house is messy. And my daughter's like, no, you like things a certain amount of clean with their cages, with their food. You are definitely particular. And you know what? She's right. I am particular. And one of the things I'm really particular about is making sure that I'm providing enough for the well-being. That means a good diet, a good environment, a good social life. If there's something else, I'm looking into it, and I'm like constantly trying to up my game and take the best care I can of my parrots, and my sugar gliders aren't going to be any different. So I am totally looking into that. Similar to parrots, sugar glider diets, there's different diets, different, I guess, philosophies out there. And it's kind of the same with parrots, because some people do pellets, some people don't do pellets, some people do chop, and some people like, excuse me, chop it finely, and some people don't. And you have to find what really works, that brings health and well-being to you and your parrots or your sugar glider, in the sense to me that there are different things out there that don't work for me with parrots. I have a successful flock. Most of my birds are in great condition. When Blue was surrendered to us, about a month later, his owner came to visit him, and she was like, oh my God, his feathers look better. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm really into diet. I'm really into taking the best care I can of really anyone I'm in charge of, my family, and certainly my pets, kind of thing. So there's different diets. And for example, I don't like doing chop. That's like in the food processor for my parrots, because it gets mushy. And parrots, they have zygdactyl feet, if I'm saying that right, because I never can remember, which means that they have 2 toes forward and 2 toes going backwards, and they use their feet to feed themselves. So they need to be able to grab a piece of food, like a little piece of carrot, sometimes a bigger piece of carrot. But if it's all chopped up, they can't really grab it. So I don't like that. And when it's also too choppy and you put it in the freezer or the fridge, it still starts to break down. I'm not saying it's not right for you. I'm saying it doesn't work for me. It just wasn't in my flow. I was like, this isn't me, no likey. So instead, every day, I make fresh stuff for my parrots. It makes me happy. It works. It's a part of my routine. So I was like, I'm already making fresh stuff. Once I make it, I could make a little more and add a little bit of fruit for my sugar gliders. But I can't. Why? Because it's different with sugar gliders. They don't grab, well, maybe they grab their food. I think they do, but their hands are littler. So they can't grab a little piece. And so instead people do actually put it in their food processor. And they do kind of make a soup kind of thing, maybe a chunky soup. But the other reason for that, I'm learning, is so that they will also eat their vegetables. Because I've taught my parrots to eat their vegetables and they don't get fruit. But my sugar glider is going to have, I think, fruit and vegetables. I'm trying to research. Do you feed them vegetables in the morning and fruit at night? Or, if you put it together, I haven't figured that out. There's nowhere that's like given me a nice straight answer, and so I'm still researching. But if my sugar glider has the option, I totally get that they're going to eat the fruit and they're going to toss the vegetables. So maybe I just need to give them vegetables at night when they're waking up and they're hungry. I need to find what works for me. People also, they make a good amount, because once you cut an apple up, you can't keep the apple for several days, right? And you don't really want to waste most of an apple on your sugar glider. So they make the mix, they freeze it, and then they feed it to their sugar glider. And I don't know if they give them a frozen ice cube. It doesn't quite make sense to me. Thaw it out. I'm not sure. It's something else I have to find out about so that I know what I'm getting myself into. But either way, I think I can handle that. So it's really exciting, but I do have to find out about diet. There are different diets out there, and I need to find the diet that, like my parrots, works for me and my parrots, because I can deliver it and it's really working for them. It's keeping them healthy, happy, and where I want them to be. So I need to find out, like, what is that diet for me and my sugar glider. It's exciting. I like doing the research. How could I not? I love learning about them. I can't wait. It's so exciting. I hope I've given you some really great ideas and some things to think about, because whether you're looking at getting a parrot, a sugar glider, or a different animal, I think these are all things that are going to apply to you. If you've enjoyed this and you've stuck with us for 22 minutes or something like that, thank you so much. Please give Blue and I one of these. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have things to share with me about your parrot or your sugar glider, please post them below. Other animals too, although I'm really focused on, parrots and sugar gliders right now. But thank you so much. And if you want to check out my books on parrots, please check the links below, and I'll catch you in the next feathered or furry video.